This is Velo Stewart, writer, actor, producer, director, DJ. He has a great love and appreciation for filmmaking. This is Q Nice, poet, actor, producer, director, music, curating specialist. He has a great love and appreciation for music. So what do you get when you put the two of these guys together? You get a very special event called Music and Movies on the Zoom platform this Friday. Start time is 8:08 p.m. Pacific Standard. Join Music and Movies and say hello to the rest of the crew. Say hello to Gwen, Carmen, Clarence, and Fred. So put on your dancing shoes and get ready to pop the popcorn from Music and Movies on the Zoom platform. Sponsored by TRILLVISION and the Quentin Findlay Collection.
Is it vegan?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Music and Movies. Today, we spotlight films from the Conch International Film Festival. Today, we are discussing the film Where the Sun Sets. We have the director, Ryan, with us. Ryan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. I can't complain. Before we get started, more specifically about the film, tell us about your passion for being a filmmaker and writing director. Where did it come from?
I guess maybe because I just used to sit in front of the TV for too long as a child growing up. I really enjoyed just like watching TV and movies from a young age and fell in love with storytelling in general. And I used to watch everything. I was that guy who, like, you talk to people who should have seen a movie because it came out like when they were teenagers or adults, and I would have been the one to see it. They're like, "How do you know that movie? That was so old," that kind of thing. And I ended up kind of following that passion into film school. So I went to film school in LA, and I studied film and television production. And I got my bachelor's from a school called Loyola Marymount University. And then I worked in the industry professionally for several years, and now I'm focusing on writing and directing my own stuff. So the film that's actually in the Conch Festival was my senior thesis coming out of college.
Excellent. And Where the Sun Sets. Can you tell us the premise of the film?
Mhm. So it is about a young fisherman who's taking care of his ailing grandmother, and he needs to make more money, and he gets this opportunity to make more money through an old connection of his, like kind of like in the back in his like less legal days, so to speak. um, and he kind of has to make this difficult choice between like what's easy and what's right, what's the right choice to make. That was a terrible explanation of a log line. I just haven't said it in so long, but it generally it's about like it follows the relationship of these two young men that used to be very close friends, and how like after the events of this one day, their lives kind of splinter off and go in different directions. And it's kind of like an examination of how they come back together.
And what was your proudest moment on this production? Was finishing it, starting?
I would say finishing it. Starting definitely, just because it's. I'm sure any filmmaker knows, like, it's just getting to be like, okay, we're going into production is like a challenge in and of itself. But getting over the finish line, like actually like even after you shoot, after production, it's all the like, okay, now you have to do this for post, and you have to do this for marketing materials, and it could seem like a never-ending process because you've been exhausted with the production aspect of it, and then you're like, okay, you take a breather, and you're like, but there's so much more. Now you have to make the movie. Now you have to go into editing. Now you have to color correct. Now you have to figure out like which festivals you're going to apply to. What are you going to do with the movie? All of those things, and everybody's going to be like, where's your EPK? Where's your this? Where's your that? So it's like it doesn't stop. But when you do finally get it all done, that's when you're like, okay, you could take a step back, breathe a sigh of relief, and hopefully it wins an award or does something good for you. So
Excellent. And why is the Conch Shell International Film Festival important? And what do you hope for your film having it in this festival?
I think the festival is important because it is trying to showcase, or I shouldn't say trying, it's showcasing Caribbean filmmakers and Caribbean stories, which is something that is not mainstream. Um, so like I live in LA and I've worked in the entertainment industry, and I know that we as a region have such a rich culture, right? That it is translatable if you understand like where who to put it in front of and how to deliver it. Um, I think that we need to get to that next level, and there's so many like things that are kind of like in the way. One is that it's the diaspora. Everything's so splintered. It's not like if you were in the US or if you're in Europe or in India, where you could make a movie that appeals to the locals and then make a profit on it. Like that's the main thing, because there's so many people there, like people are gonna buy tickets to go see it. But like for example, like Trinidad and Tobago with a population of I'm not sure what it is now, mate, let's say five, right? 1.5 million population. uh how many people are gonna go to the movie theaters and watch that local film, because you're in competition with everything that's in the movie theater as well, right? So
Mhm.
then you get a smaller like cross section of the population going to see it, um, and it's not gonna be like, depending on how much money you paid to make it, right? It's not like the return on investment is not there, right? So we have to find ways to then like take it to other countries, Latin America, Africa, like really put it out to the diaspora. But I think like we just have to figure out what that model is, and I think festivals like these could help make it more like accessible, right, to the rest of the world. And that's like what you want. Because, sorry to drone on, but I would say this lastly, like I have a friend who is also in film school with me, and then another friend, and they're both Italian. And they, when they saw this film Where the Sun Sets, they were in awe because they had not been exposed to that culture or seen these things in film before. So, and they loved it. So it's putting the just put it out there is why it's important. I think that's why this festival is important. Package it, put it out there. People will see it. People will love it, and you gain like momentum with that kind of thing.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
And what's next for this film?
What is next? That is a difficult question. I'm not certain what's next for this film.
Mhm.
It was made in 2012. I'll say that. What I did do since this film, I actually wrote a feature that it's not all the same characters, but the antagonist in the short Where the Sun Sets is also in the feature, and it's a prequel. So it kind of follows not all the characters, but one of them, and you kind of dive into his story a little bit more. But it introduces like new characters. It's almost like building a Marvel universe, right? Of characters, but they all live on one island, you know? So you might write a short about these guys here, and then you write a feature about these guys here, but that guy knows this guy and he overlaps, right? So it's not like necessarily a continuation, but everything it makes sense that it would just these characters would just come in and out of each other's lives because you live on such a small island that it would be like, oh yeah, that he was there that time. I remember that. So I've done something like that, and it's a totally different story from this one, but it is also a coming of age story. Yeah.
Excellent. 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 And how can people follow you? Social media, website?
So I'm terrible with this, but I do have Facebook and Instagram. My Instagram handle is my last name, but it's broken up phonetically because some people have trouble saying it. It's Latch, Latch dot man, man dot Singh, Singh. So it's Latchmansingh, but dots in between. That's my Instagram, and then on Facebook it's just Ryan Latchmansingh. And the short has a website, which is wtssmovie.com. Um, and you could kind of see the trailer and stuff, but it'll be available when the film festival kind of kicks into gear.
Excellent. Excellent. Ryan, thank you very much for joining us, and we look forward to speaking with you again during the festival.
Thank you so much for having me, David.
Thank you.